But again, I go through the same process. Laying it up, one piece at a time. That holds that belly backer up, so there's less likely. I'm gonna tell you a bad wreck. I watched a man one day have his hanging low. I don't even remember where we were, but I was watching him and the horse was standing there tied. I knew we were. We were at JT's. We were at JT Harder's.
Well, we were at Eddie Dale's now.
Okay, but JT's, man, we left and we went around to eat. And when I walked by that horse, and I should have changed what we were doing, when I walked by that horse, I saw that belly backer hanging down there this low. Well, we heard the god-awfulest commotion you've ever heard in your life a few minutes later, and that horse was tied all up in the wagon, in his harness and everything. He had got his leg on top of that belly backer. And that was a sight. As Kim mentioned earlier, it was pocket knife time because everything was tight. You couldn't get nothing to break loose. So we had to start cutting harness. But I like to pull that up and get it up out of the way. And I see people do it both ways, and that's just my opinion. And mainly, like I say, because what I saw today changed my mind to make sure mine's on top.
It's very important that, first of all, these are blinders. You know, you have a sheet there, and some of that is not on this sheet that I'm going to talk about. But I tell them a wrinkle, look at there, not two. See, I count 2 wrinkles here. I go back down to a wrinkle. This bit is set perfect in my. In other words, that looks like it's set perfect to me.
All right. That's a good size to start with.
No, we'll let y'all.
Oh, the tug is little. It's on a swivel though, so it should stand.
Everything about the whole baby. So
if I drive in this again, can you bring me a cushion and hurt my butt? No, you just eat another cheeseburger. I know, right?
It's so narrow.
Now, this whole back, I'm gonna start from scratch so you can see it go in. So you see this a lot, and do not do this. You'll see people cram this whole back through, tied up such as this, trying to get length out of it. If your whole back strap's too short, you need to do something different. But someone had asked us early, and yes, I like keeping the whole back on the shafts myself.
Yeah, I do.
So once you adjust it, there's no need to take it off again. You just leave it on there. And every time you hook that same horse to the shafts, this is already ready for you. But do not use these whole backs like this, okay? The one reason for it is, rub a horse to death if they're not wrapped at least one time, okay? They'll rub a horse, they'll move a lot, and it wears the whole back right here on this point right here. It's like a place to cut it. So if you start with that whole back and you run it down, you should run that whole back through in front, okay? It's tight on these shafts right here, y'all. Most of the time you got more room to work with these. So see that tie back now has been tied in front of it and looped. So now this takes all that slack from moving again. It's like taking a noose and tightening it on something. That's never gonna move on you again. It's gonna stay there. It's not gonna flop back and forth and slide on you. Then, let me start over. Telling you something, I done it backwards. So that snap, you want this snap, this buckle, when you're through tying your whole back, you want that buckle to be on the outside, such as this. Okay, then this is where you're going to get your adjustment. So from now on, see if I don't move it and if I don't help give it some, okay, it's not going to move from that position. So it's not just adjusting this point, but holding it at this point, okay? Then, when you come back, you cannot loop this one and make it work on this horse, Harley, because it's it's a big old horse.
Yeah. This boy is, and the sad part is he ain't through growing.
So if we were gonna hook it like we should, okay, this would be long enough once it's wrapped to come back and tie back and hook back to it. But being we can't, we're gonna come back and hook it one time.
Right.
Which again, this doesn't hurt to do, but it's just it moves on you. Every time you get ready to hook it back up, you're gonna have to play with this some to get it back in the right position. And this puts this strap in a bind all the time. I mean, he's tight in him. Then this is going, when you hook this, it should have room to swivel on the inside, and this should be able to have room to move. And again, he's tight in here, so he should never be able to hit this buckle again after he's strapped. His hip room in here should be a whole lot wider, you know, where he's got room to work. But these holdbacks, make sure when we talk about how to hook and when to hook and what to do first and what to do last, the last thing you hook in the shafts and the first thing you take off. Let me tell you, I learned the hard way. I unhooked a horse that did not need to be drove right yet. We drove him, a buddy of mine and myself drove him, and he was acting up so crazy, the standard bred horse, and we just drove him trying to get him to drive a little bit, but he was acting up so bad we decided to take him out. My side too now, I was in a hurry to get him out. We took everything loose, got him out right quick, and I had left the whole back hooked to the horse. So it made our bad situation worse. So always remember, once you get these holdbacks in place, make sure the last thing you do, the first thing you do to take him out of the shafts is take it out. So it's a poor demonstration right here, but it's the only way we can hook it right now.
You understand?
Gary had mentioned about the breast pull. This breast pull, make sure that you ride this breast pull low enough down that it's out of his throat, okay? If you get that breast pull too high, it ain't a breast pull no more, it's a throat pull. And nobody wants their horse choked while you're driving them. And that one's sitting in a good spot because when the tug takes place, that one pulls into a good place for the broad of the chest.
Usually we'll step over the pole. If the pole was like any other wagon or something like that, you just step over it. But with this off the ground, get that and now keep the lines with you.
So afraid she's gonna bite yours in the face, like playing, and I'm trying not to let her do that.
Inside first, we'll see what he does, yeah.
Nice looking horse. I bet he's 2-3 years old. Well, I told Bobby, I said, look, between your carriage and his, the one he got wrecked with, y'all might have one carriage. You did. What is it? How you do? Get some hay strings, we'll tie it all.
Hank, step up. Hank, step up. Step up.
So that's Mule.
Anybody else want to drive on the team?
You sure you're not wanting to get one of these big ones?
Oh my God. How you doing?
So one time my mother got wear these shoes, and she was like, I'm so glad that I didn't.